Hello, this is Claus Jensen presenting Game 8 of the World Chess Championship match between Anand and Topalov. In Game 8, Topalov had the white pieces again, and just like in Game 3 and 5, we saw a Slav defense from Anand. So the game went d4, d5, c4, c6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, d takes c4, a4, bishop f5, knight e5, e6, f3, c5, e4, bishop g6, bishop e3, c takes d4, queen takes d4, queen takes d4, bishop takes d4, knight f d7, knight takes d7, knight takes d7, and bishop takes c4. And in games 3 and 5, Anand played a6, followed by his new idea, rook g8. And I don't know if Anand didn't feel totally comfortable with this idea, although he managed hard-fought draws in both games. But he decided to deviate, and now he played rook c8, and then came bishop b5. And this is in fact solving the problem of the bishop g6, which was a problem for Anand in both games 3 and 5. And this is perhaps why he chose rook c8 instead. a6, bishop takes d7, king takes d7, king e2, and now Anand can play f6, which is opening up for the g6 bishop, going to f7 or e8, and it also blocking the d4 bishop from attacking g7. So this should give Anand some more natural development on the king side. Rook h to d1, and now Anand has to move his king away from the threats in the d file, and I think an interesting and perhaps a better idea than the one played in the game is king c7. The idea is bishop b4, and then rook h to d8, and then bishop e8, and then king b8. This looks like a very good development plan, and this was what I thought would be a good idea for Anand. But he followed a previous game played. I don't remember who played the game, but it was played earlier. King e8. But I think this is a really ugly move, blocking the g6 bishop from going to e8, blocking the rook from going to d8. So this is not solving the development on the king side for Anand. a5, this is the first move, new move according to my database. Bishop e7, bishop b6, and now Anand plays the very strange rook f8, which is of course a good illustration of the problems Anand has in developing properly. Okay, I can see the idea behind rook f8, and we shall see very soon rook a to c1, and then f5. Of course, Topalov wants to keep the black bishop on g6 behind bars, so to speak, so he plays e5. An idea here could be f4 for Anand, which would open up for the bishop, but then Topalov has the very strong knight e4, and rook takes c1, rook takes c1, bishop takes e4, f takes e4, and now Anand cannot prevent Topalov from entering the black position with his rook. So this doesn't work, so bishop g5 is also a good move for Anand, and after bishop e3, I thought that the best continuation would be bishop takes e3, king takes e3, and king e7. Again, opening up e8 for the g6 bishop, which can then go to c6. But now Anand plays this f4 idea. Topalov played knight e4, rook takes c1, knight d6, check. We have a forced sequence here. King g7, bishop takes c1, king c6. Bishop d2, bishop e7, rook c1 check, king d7, bishop c3, bishop takes d6, rook d1. Bishop f5 followed, and now Topalov is making a very good move and a very interesting move. He shows his intentions of trying to win this f4 pawn. So he wants to prevent g5. So the logical move, if you want to win the f4 pawn, is to play h4, and that was what Topalov did in the game. g6, and then rook takes d6 check, king c8, bishop d2, hitting f4, rook g8, and Anand is saying, you can have the f4 pawn. That's okay with me, because I will exchange the rooks, and we will head for an opposite colored bishop endgame, which should be holdable for me, although being a pawn down. So bishop takes f4, rook takes d6, e takes d6, king d7, king e3. And Topalov starts marching his king, which will go to both the king side and the queen side. But bishop c2, king d4, king e8. Then Anand is of course thinking in fortresses here, because this black squared bishop, dark squared bishop, cannot attack any of Anand's light squared pawns. So king e5, king f7, bishop e3, bishop a4, king f4, bishop b5. And it's hard to see how Topalov should win this game, although having a passed pawn and being a pawn up. Bishop c5, king f6, bishop d4 check, king f7, king g5, bishop c6, king h6, king g8, h5, bishop e8, king g5, king f7, king h6, king g8, bishop c5, g6, h5, king g5, king g7, bishop d4 check, king f7, bishop e5, h4, king takes h4, king g6, king g4, bishop b5, king f4, king f7, king g5. And I still think that Anand is doing very well here, but I think at this point Anand should have kept his bishop on this b5 f1 diagonal, because then the bishop is able to go to d3, protecting the h7 pawn, and then the king can protect this pawn and also control the d6 pass pawn of Topalov. But instead Anand played bishop c6, and then after king h6, king g8, g4, he actually resigned the game. He could see that a plan like g5, bishop g7, and g6 would be strong for Topalov, and it's not that Anand is in any way losing instantly, but he probably realized that this plan would be good for Topalov, and he didn't want to torture himself by going through a long and painful endgame, which would probably be losing anyway, so he decided to resign at this point. So it was a very nice game for Topalov, and in fact also an okay game for Anand. Could probably have chosen a few better ideas through the game, but it was not until his bishop c6, I think, that he was in trouble, big trouble. So the standings in the match are now 4-4, with 2 games, 1 on each side, and we have 4 games to go, and this is going to be very exciting. I hope you enjoyed this game, and I hope to see you on my blog at clausjensen.com. Bye bye for now.